My beloved children, come to me this evening, as twilight gently falls, when the world grows quiet and the noise of the day settles into silence. Sit here, close to my heart, and let my voice reach you, like a caress that heals every wound, like a light that illuminates every dark corner of your soul. I am your Jesus, the one who loves you with eternal love, and I desire to speak to you of that truth which can transform your existence, the authenticity of your love for me. How many times, dear children, have you wondered if your love for me is true, if your prayers truly reach heaven, if your faith is strong enough to withstand life's storms? How many nights have you spent in doubt, asking yourselves if I truly love you, if your devotion has meaning, if your efforts to follow me are sufficient? Here, in this evening of peace, I want to answer all your questions with the gentleness of one who knows every fold of your heart. How is your love for me measured? It is not in the feelings that come and go like ocean waves, not in the emotions that warm your heart during a beautiful celebration, or that move you before sunset. Feelings, my children, are like flowers, beautiful, fragrant, but destined to wither if they do not have deep roots. True love, the kind that I recognize and that the Father blesses, has very different roots. Look at a sturdy tree. Its beauty does not lie in the flowers that bloom in spring, but in the roots that sink into the earth, that cling to the rock, that seek water even in times of drought. So it is with your love for me. Its authenticity is not measured by the intensity of emotions you feel, but by the depth of obedience you live. Obedience to my commandments, that sweet but firm submission to my will, is the measure by which heaven gauges the sincerity of your heart. I see many of you participating in celebrations, lighting candles, reciting rosaries and novenas. I see your processions, your pilgrimages, your gestures of devotion, and my heart is moved by this search for me, by this desire to meet me. But then, when you leave the churches and return to your homes, when you reopen your workplaces, when you encounter the neighbor who has wronged you, what happens to your love? Where does that devotion, so beautiful and sincere, go? It is here that the truth of your heart is revealed. It is not enough to say, Lord, Lord, to enter the kingdom of heaven. Sweet words whispered during prayer are not enough. Tears of emotion shed before the crucifix are not enough. What matters, what gives weight and substance to your love, is daily, humble, often laborious obedience to my teachings. When I gave you the commandments, I did not do so to limit your freedom or to make your life more difficult. I gave them to show you the path of true love, the kind that does not pass away, that does not disappoint, that builds instead of destroys. Each commandment is like a step on a staircase that leads directly to my heart, to perfect communion with me and with the Father. The first 3 commandments teach you how to love me, how to recognize my presence in your life, how to honor my name, and sanctify the time I give you. When you observe these commandments, you are not simply following rules. You are building a bridge between earth and heaven. You are opening your heart to my grace. You are allowing my love to flow in you, like a river that never stops. And when this love has filled your heart, then it naturally pours out onto your brothers and sisters. The other commandments teach you how to love your neighbor, honoring your parents, respecting life, living in purity, always speaking truth, not coveting what does not belong to you. Do you see how everything holds together? Love for me and love for your brothers are not 2 different roads, but one single path that leads to holiness. But I know well, dear children, how much this costs. How many times your heart rebels when you must forgive those who have hurt you. How difficult it is to be honest when a lie could bring you advantage. How it weighs to be faithful when temptation knocks at the door of your heart. How tiring it is to be generous when you would like to keep everything for yourself. Yes, love costs, my children. It cost me to. Remember the night in Gethsemane, when my humanity trembled before the cup that the Father presented to me? I too felt the weight of obedience. I too experienced how difficult it is to say yes when everything inside us wants to say no. But it is precisely in those moments that love is purified, that it becomes gold in the crucible of trial. I too had to obey. Children, I too had to submit my human will to that of the Father. And in this obedience, I found the strength to love you to the end, to give my life on the cross. If I, who am your Lord, have walked the path of obedience, how can you think of reaching me? By taking a different road? But do not fear. You are not alone in this battle. Every time you kneel to pray, every time you open your heart in dialogue with me, I am there to listen to you, to support you, to give you the strength you lack. Prayer is not just a duty to fulfill. It is the breath of the soul. It is the umbilical cord that unites you to heaven. It is the source from which to draw the love necessary to love. When you feel your strength failing, when obedience seems impossible to you, when love for your brothers grows cold in your heart, come to me in prayer. Tell me about your labors, your fears, your weaknesses. I am not a severe judge, waiting for your mistakes to punish you. I am a friend who understands, a brother who has experienced your same difficulties, a father who loves you beyond all your imagination. And in prayer, in the silence of your heart, I will give you my own love with which to love. You do not have to love with your strength alone, my children. You must let my love be the one that loves through you. When you forgive, it is my forgiveness that works in you. When you are generous, it is my generosity that manifests itself. When you are patient, it is my patience that reveals itself. This is the mystery of grace, God working in man, the infinite making itself present in the finite. But how it grieves me to see so many of you living in compromise. How many among you declare yourselves my followers on Sunday, and then, during the week, live as if I did not exist? How many participate in my celebrations, and then, having left the church, speak ill of their brother, lie for convenience, close their hearts to the suffering of others? This is not how authentic love is lived. Children, you cannot serve two masters. Either you are mine, and then your entire life becomes a response of love to my commandments, or you belong to the world, and then even your religious practices become mere theater, appearance without substance. True love knows no compromises. Either it exists or it does not. Either it transforms your life, or it is just an illusion. When your love for me is authentic, then every gesture, every word, every thought becomes an act of love. You do not love only those who love you. You do not do good only to those who do good to you. You do not forgive only those who ask for forgiveness. You love as I love, without measure, without calculations, without conditions. My arms open on the cross, for everyone, for the righteous and for sinners, for those who love me, and for those who betrayed me, for those who followed me, and for those who persecuted me. This is the love I ask of you, a love that makes no distinctions, that sets no limits, that does not stop before the difficulties of others' character or differences of opinion. I know it is difficult. Children, I know that your first instinct is to love those who are likable to you and to distance yourselves from those who annoy you. But it is precisely here that the authenticity of your love for me is measured. When you manage to love those who have hurt you, when you know how to be patient with those who irritate you, when you do good to those who are not grateful to you, then you are loving with my own heart. And I see your every effort, children. I see when you grit your teeth and choose to forgive, even though your heart bleeds. I see when you help someone, even though you are tired and would like to think only of yourselves. I see when you tell the truth, even though it costs you dearly. I see when you remain faithful, even when everything around you collapses. These are the victories that make heaven rejoice, not the great gestures that everyone sees, but these small, daily acts of obedience that no one notices, but that have the fragrance of paradise. It is in these moments that your faith is tempered like steel and fire. It is here that your love becomes authentic and indestructible. How sweet it is for my heart to hear a soul that, even in the fatigue of daily struggle, whispers, "Lord, I love you." How precious is that "I love you" that is born not from the emotion of the moment, but from the firm will to follow me, even when it costs. It is the love of one who has chosen to walk on my path, even when it is uphill, even when it is stony, even when it seems to have no end. This is the love I recognize as true, that which is born from obedience, which is nourished in prayer, which manifests itself in daily life through concrete gestures of charity, not love made of words alone, but that which translates into works, not love that lasts as long as everything goes well, but that which resists in trials, not love that seeks consolations, but that which knows how to offer consolation. You see, my children, being Christian is not a label that sticks to your life without changing it. Being Christian is a calling, a vocation, a choice that involves your entire existence. Not everyone accepts this calling, and among those who accept it, not everyone lives it to the fullest. But you, who have chosen to follow me, do not settle for a lukewarm, superficial Christianity. My word is eternal. Children, it is the rock upon which you can build your life, without fear that it will collapse. It is a light that can guide your steps, even in the darkest nights. It is a nourishment that can satisfy the deepest hunger of your heart. But for this word to become life in you, you must welcome it not only with your mind, but with your entire being. You must let it transform your thoughts, your feelings, your actions. Only in this way can you become the witnesses the world awaits. Only in this way will your life become a living gospel that speaks louder than 1,000 sermons. Only in this way can you bear fruit, that fruit which remains and gives glory to the Father. When you live in obedience to my commandments, when your love translates into concrete gestures, when your faith resists trials, then you become like cities set on a hill that cannot remain hidden. People look at you and see something different in you, something that attracts, something that gives hope. You do not need to make great speeches to evangelize. Your life evangelizes. You do not need to try to convince with refined arguments. Your witness convinces. You do not need to multiply words. Your consistency speaks for itself. Think of those moments when you doubt your ability to love me authentically. Perhaps you feel inadequate. Perhaps you compare yourselves to saints who seem so far from your reality. Perhaps you are discouraged by your repeated failures. But let me tell you a secret, dear children. Even the greatest saints struggle with these same doubts. Even they had to learn day by day what it means to love through obedience. St. Peter, whom I chose as a rock of my church, denied me 3 times in my hour of greatest need. Yet his love for me was authentic, because after his fall, he rose again and chose to follow me, even unto martyrdom. St. Paul persecuted my followers before becoming my most ardent apostle. St. Augustine lived a dissolute youth before surrendering completely to my will. What made them saints was not their perfection, but their perseverance and obedience despite their weaknesses. You too can become saints, children, not because you never fall, but because you always get back up, because you never stop choosing love, because you trust more in my mercy than in your own strength. Sanctity is not reserved for a chosen few who seem to have been born perfect. Sanctity is the ordinary vocation of every baptized person. It is the fruit of a love that chooses to obey, even when it is difficult. In the small details of your daily life, you can find countless opportunities to practice this authentic love. When you wake up in the morning and your first thought goes to me instead of to your worries, you are living obedience. When you offer your work, however humble it may be, for the glory of the Father, you are practicing love. When you smile at a colleague who annoys you, when you listen patiently to a spouse who is telling you the same story for the 100th time, when you help your children with their homework, even though you are tired, you are building your sanctity brick by brick. These small acts of obedience have infinite value in my eyes. They're like drops of water that, one by one, fill the ocean of divine love. Do not underestimate them. Do not think they are insignificant. Every gesture of love, however small, participates in the mystery of redemption, contributes to the salvation of the world, brings the kingdom of God closer. And when the trials come, when suffering knocks at your door, when life seems to test your faith to the limit, remember that even these moments can become occasions of authentic love if lived in obedience to my will. I do not cause suffering children, but I can transform it into an instrument of grace if you offer it to me with trust. Look at my cross. It was a moment of my greatest suffering, but also the moment of my greatest love. In that pain, in that apparent defeat, the salvation of the world was accomplished. So your sufferings too, when united to mine, become salvific, become seeds of resurrection, become sources of grace for yourselves and for others. Do not ask me to spare you all suffering, but ask me for the grace to live it with love, to transform it into obedience, to make it fruitful for eternity. This is the secret of the saints. They did not suffer less than others, but they suffered better. They suffered with meaning. They suffered for love. When you face moments of darkness, when doubt assails your spirit, when you feel distant from me, despite your prayers, do not think that your love has failed. Sometimes I hide myself, not because I love you less, but because I want your love to grow stronger, purified from every form of spiritual selfishness. The night of the soul, as the mystics call it, is often the crucible where the most authentic love is forged. Think of Mary, my mother, standing at the foot of the cross. In that moment, all human logic would have suggested that God had abandoned his son, that love had failed, that faith was an illusion. Yet Mary remained there in silent obedience, trusting beyond all evidence. Her yes, pronounced at the Annunciation, continued to resonate even in the darkness of Calvary. This is authentic love, the kind that does not need to understand to obey, that does not need to feel to remain faithful. You too will have your Calvary moments, children, moments when my will seems incomprehensible, when my ways appear harsh, when my silence weighs more than any word. In those moments, remember Mary. Let her teach you that obedience born of love can transform even the deepest suffering into cooperation with the divine plan of salvation. And do not think that authentic love always manifests itself in extraordinary gestures. Often the truest love is found in the most ordinary choices, in the patience with which you bear the character defect of those who live with you, and the constancy with which you fulfill your daily duties, even when no one sees you, and the faithfulness with which you keep your promises, even when circumstances change. I think of the mother who gets up every night to care for her sick child, of the father who works with dedication to provide for his family, of the son who assists his elderly parents, of the friend who remains close in difficult moments. These are the heroes of everyday obedience, the saints of ordinary life, those who build the kingdom of God with humble and constant gestures. Your world often exalts those who achieve great success, who accumulate wealth, who gain fame and power. But in my eyes, the greatest are those who who know how to love in hiddenness, who serve without expecting recognition, who obey without seeking reward. These are the true aristocrats of the Spirit, the nobles of my kingdom, in this evening that becomes night. As you prepare your heart for rest, I entrust to your silence this truth. Authentic love is measured by obedience. Do not look elsewhere for proof of your love for me. Do not look for it in the feelings you experience. Do not look for it in the consolations you receive. Do not look for it in the successes you achieve. Look for it in your daily faithfulness to my teachings. Look for it in the patience you show toward those beside you. Look for it in the generosity with which you share what you have. Look for it in the purity with which you live your affections. Look for it in the truth with which you speak. Look for it in the justice with which you act. Every evening, before falling asleep, examine your day. Where did I obey the Lord? Where did I choose love instead of selfishness? Where did I prefer His will to mine? In those moments, you will recognize your true love, the kind that does not deceive, that builds, that sanctifies. And if you discover that you have failed, do not be discouraged. Even failure can become grace if you offer it to my merciful heart. I too passed through trials. I too felt the weight of temptation. I too had to fight to remain faithful to the Father. The difference does not lie in never falling, but in always getting up, in always beginning again, in always believing that love can conquer everything. Remember that my mercy is greater than any sin, my love stronger than any weakness. Every time you fall and get back up, every time you ask for forgiveness and begin again, you're living that authentic love that I recognize and bless. Perfection is not your goal, children. Perseverance is your goal, not to never make mistakes, but to never stop walking toward me. I bless you, dearest children, with all the love of my heart. I bless you so that you may recognize each day the beauty of obedience. I bless you so that you may taste the sweetness of a love that never disappoints. I bless you so that you may be credible witnesses of that love which changed the world and continues to change it through you. Rest in peace, knowing that every effort you make to love me through obedience is precious in my eyes. Rest in the certainty that my love accompanies you always, even when you do not feel it. Rest in the hope that each new day offers you new occasions to say, with your life before your words, Lord, I love you. May the night cover you with its peace. May sleep restore your strength. And may the dawn that comes find you ready to begin again the journey of authentic love, the kind that is measured not on feelings, but on obedience, not on emotions, but on faithfulness. I love you with eternal love. Rest in my heart. Your Jesus.